The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
There's been a rash of burglaries in my neighborhood, so I've put locks on my doors and windows. Now if a burglar gets in, I'm all set.
You know, I know a couple that got engaged at a drive-in movie, married in a drive-in church, and took a cross-country trip on their honeymoon. Today they got 3 beautiful children. Now, they never even been out of their car.
They've got this new co-ed dormitory at Stanford University where the boys occupy the east wing and the girls occupy the west wing. Actually, it's the only way to fly.
I took up yoga. I assume a seated posture and remain motionless for hours. It's not much, but it sure beats sitting around doing nothing.
I had a terrible time last night. I took a sleeping pill and I dozed off before I could enjoy it.
Great much progress in my country. In 10 years, every Russian will have a roof over his head. And in 20 years, maybe they'll even put up walls.
I went to a big showbiz party last night. I'll say one thing. Those people in Beverly Hills sure have a beautiful ghetto.
If Rome continues its ban on the pill, in 15 years, there will be twice as many people protesting.
Dick. Give me 2 good reasons for nudity in the movies.
Raquel Welch.
Now if a burglar gets in, I'm all set.
This new divine nudity producer who wants to put me in his new movie all about nudity. But you know what? So far, he hasn't been able to meet my figure.
I don't know why the government's hitting me with all these taxes. Dad always said I was a complete write-off.
Tiny, which one of us is the opposite sex?
How am I supposed to know, Miss Goldie? I've never been out with one.
You know, I've been considering some of the moral aspects of all this transplant business, and I've come to the simple conclusion, when you're dead, you're dead. That's life.
And now, from beautiful downtown Burbank, just 3 coughs and a sneeze from Los Angeles, smog capital of the world, NBC wheezingly presents a collection of old wheezes called Rowan and Martin's Cough-In. Starring Dan Rowan and Dick Martin, with guest star Tiny Tim and Judy Carn, Artie Johnson with Ruth Buzzy, Henry Gibson, Goldie Hawn, Dave Madden, Alan Suze, and Joanne Worley with Chelsea Brown, Muriel Landers, and yours truly, Morgul as the friendly Drell, who is played tonight by Gary Owens. But first, this commercial announcement.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but you've lost this patient.
And this cigarette has lost its taste.
Why not try one of mine?
One of your cigarettes?
No, one of my patients. They're stronger, they last longer, and they don't leave an ugly blot on your medical record.
And now for this important lull.
Uh-oh. We're in for it now. Here come those handball players again.
Oh! An aeroplane to rescue us! Quick! Signal him! Quick! You, Mr. Airplane!
The Bull Moose by Henry Gibson. The bull moose is my pal true blue. He don't smoke or drink or chew. His only hang-up is he sniffs glue. If I was a bull moose, I would too.
Hello, NBC, beautiful downtown Burbank. You'd like to invite the cast to go on a hayride? Oh, I wouldn't do that, sir. It would disillusion them. They think they're already on one.
If it weren't for this show, I wouldn't be where I am. But I don't hold that against them.
And now, as the house lights dim and Mr. and Mrs. First Nighter grope for their seats, the orchestra breaks into a rash, and the Walter Cronkite Chorale asks the musical question, "Don't Rain on My Parade," as sung by Dan Rowan and the lovely Dick Martin.
Good evening. Hey, we got a show tonight.
Well, I guess you're pretty excited about the party tonight, huh?
What party?
Oh, that's right. You're not supposed to know about it.
You gonna tell me about the party or not?
What party?
The party I'm not supposed to know anything about.
Oh, you know about it. Who told you?
Nobody told me.
Well, that's good, because you're not supposed to know about it. Anyway, it's a surprise.
You mean there's a surprise party for me tonight?
Then you do know about it.
Well, you told me, big mouth.
Not me. I promised your wife.
My wife's planning this whole thing?
She and your sister Ethel from Chicago, whom you haven't seen in 8 years.
I don't want to hear any more.
Boy, you ought to see the present they got you.
Dick, please.
Okay, they got you a watch.
A watch?
There's no use guessing. My lips are sealed.
In America, my new movie is called Buonasera, Mrs. Campbell. The Italian version is called Good Evening, Mrs. Minestrone.
Ladies and gentlemen, and ships at sea, let's go to press. And now, here's the Laugh-In News. It may not be as good as your local newspaper, but at least the ink doesn't come off in your fingers. What's the news across the nation? We have got the information in a way we hope will amuse you. We just love to give you our views. Ladies and gents, laughing lots at the news. And here's Mr. Dan.
Wait a minute, we can't go in front of Dan. We go behind Dan. Don't you know that? If I get the flu, I'm gonna be just sick.
Now with the news of the present, here's the man to whom the news wouldn't be the news without the news. Who were they? Here's Dickie.
California. Longshoremen at San Pedro today struck once again, refusing to unload a ship, claiming the holds were full of mice. President Irving Lazar of the White Mouse Importing Company, who leased the ship, said this strike could be a long one. And in Warsaw, informed sources report that the launching of the first Polish moon rocket has been delayed until the government can develop a workable match to light the fuse. Hollywood. A major film studio announced plans today to remake My Fair Lady completely in the nude. Marnie Nixon was chosen to dub in Audrey Hepburn's figure. Yeah. Take it away, Goldie.
And now with the news of Dan, 20 years from now. Rowan, here's future.
An absolute disaster, Goldie.
Really?
Yep.
I could have sworn I made a mistake somewhere.
New York City, 1989. ABC TV President Chuck Barris today announced that since there were no more old movies available for TV, future programming will consist of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at the Dating Game. That'd be fun. Meanwhile, around the country 20 years from now, the mayors of Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, and Los Angeles went out on strike. Hot on the heels of the federal mediators' strike, at the White House, President Walter Reuther angrily denounced all strikers and promised prompt legal action just as soon as he can settle the Supreme Court walkout. Finally, this news of the future 1989, 20 years from now. The sole survivor of the tiny nation of Biafra today thanked the United Nations for all the help they have given him ever since uranium was discovered in Biafra last week. Those planes will get in there now, baby.
And now, skipping through the pages of history, we turn right at the Civil War and come to a screeching halt at Mount Vernon, the home of George and Martha Washington.
Martha, as commander of the Continental Army, I've just defeated King George and freed us from the British yoke. Now I'm off to Philadelphia to become the first president of the United States and father of our country. How about that?
Sure, George, sure. Anything to get out of the house. Do you realize that you haven't slept at home one night in the past 3 months, and you're gonna be the father of our country?
I don't get it.
Oh, poor baby.
And now for the sports. Here is Hockey Puck's bad boy himself. Here's Alan Seuss. Take it away, you Dresden Hockey Puck.
Go crazy.
I could help, big pal.
And now to keep you informed of what's going on in Washington, here's Laugh-In's Girl on the Go with the latest capital punishment.
Hello, Judy Kahn, your laughing girl on the go, here at the Washington, D.C. home of Mrs. Greer Fogelson, who lives at 1602 Pennsylvania Avenue, right next door to the White House.
Oh, not anymore. I've had it living next door to that bunch. I bet I spend 2 hours a day scrubbing barbecue smoke off my windows. What are they running over there, some kind of a Mexican restaurant?
You mean the Johnsons?
Ah, I knew it. Oh, I knew it. Howard Johnson's.
Oh, no, not Howard Johnson, Lyndon Johnson. But they've left now. His successor has moved in.
That's another thing. Every few years, I've got a new neighbor to get used to. You know, whoever owns that place has a tough time keeping it rented. I hear they're going to break it up into apartments.
Oh, no, you've got it all wrong. That's the home of the nation's first family, and President Nixon lives there now.
Oh, I heard about him. That's a big reason I'm moving.
Oh, really? Why?
'Cause I hear he's got Spiro Agnew, and I'm getting out of here before the whole thing spreads right through the neighborhood.
Time for another commercial, darling. And tell them Goldie sent you. Goldie!
Come on, Alan, lunch. How you doing, Henry? I'm almost finished on my side.
What happened, beautiful? Oh, I just threw out my back.
Well, throw it out here, baby!
I don't get it.
Psst.
Now, here's my plan. Go to your room.
Mr. Walker, why in heaven's name are you dressed like that?
Well, they said women and children first. Simple. I couldn't find any children's clothes. What's a body to do?
I don't know. Maybe you should put that flower over on that side.
Announcing George Washington and Mrs. Carver.
As you'll recall, boys and girls, when we last left Jack, Doc, and Reggie, they were sinking slowly in Baskin-Robbins' flavor of the month. And speaking of banana nut surprises, here they are, Dan and Dick.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, how's your invisible uncle?
Oh, Uncle Willard?
Yeah, that's the one.
I don't know. I haven't seen him lately.
Well, of course you haven't seen him, you ding-a-ling. He's invisible.
Maybe that explains it.
A slap point.
A slap
yeah.
point was right
What
there.
does that explain?
Well, when I got out of the shower this morning, somebody dried my back.
Then you turn around to see who it was?
I'm not nosy.
Uncle Willard.
Yeah, darn it.
What do you mean, darn it?
Well, if that was Uncle Willard, it means I gave my maid a raise for nothing.
Moving right along musically, here's what we lovingly call an act of potpourri.
So you call yourself the Virginian. Where are you from?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Well, that's in New York. Why do you call yourself the Virginian?
I used to call myself the New Yorker, but some magazine made a big stink about it.
I had the same trouble, too. I used to call myself the Saturday Evening Post.
Hello, dear.
Dear, you forgot to come home for lunch again today. What's the matter, dear? Can't you remember anything?
Of course I can, Helen.
It's Stella.
Yeah, Stella. Where are the two kids?
3 kids.
All right, 3 kids if you want to quibble.
Oh, Henry, when are you going to do something about your memory?
Well, I went to that memory lecture, you remember?
Well, sure. It was the night you forgot to come home.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that, Helen.
It's Stella.
Stella. Sure are touchy all of a sudden.
Oh, well, it's just that today is our anniversary. You forgot.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, honey.
Well.
Happy 10th anniversary.
15!
15, and everyone has been a happy one. I just want you to know that the greatest joys of my life have been you and the 2 boys.
3. 3 girls.
Sure, Helen?
Stella! Oh, in a little while, Alice is coming over here to take us out.
Alice?
Uh-huh.
Oh, hey, that's wonderful, wonderful. Good old Alice. Who is Alice?
Your sister.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, look, I'm going to say this very carefully and very slowly. In a little while, Alice, your sister, is coming over to take you, Henry, and me, Stella, and our 3 girls out for our 15th wedding anniversary. Now, do you think you can remember that?
I'll remember all that, or my name isn't Percy.
Henry!
Percy. I'm sorry, Helen.
Stella! I'm Stella! Stella! Stella!
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, ma'am.
At ease. Now, what are you going to say when she gets here?
Well, I'll say, welcome, Stella.
Alice. It's Alice.
I'm sorry.
No, she's Alice.
Well, make up your mind, Helen.
Stella! Stella! In a little while, she's going to be here. What am I going to do? Oh.
Come in. Welcome, Stella.
Oh, hi, Percy. Hi, Helen. Oh, happy 10th anniversary. Well, get the 2 boys and let's go.
And now, folk, here's one of this week's funny letters to laugh in, sent in by Douglas Molitor of Altadena, California.
When I was 12, my uncle sent me abroad.
Gee, all my uncle ever sent me was a bicycle.
The Rhino by Henry Gibson. Some people say that the rhino's a drunk. Other people say he turns on with junk. But me, I think that's a lot of bunk. The rhino is a wino. Oh, rhino, don't take much to turn you on. Oh, rhino, just some Cabernet Sauvignon.
Hey, Chelsea, do you have any soap?
Sure, hon. Here, have a bar of Black Power.
That's right, it is Black Power. You must be putting me on. Look, it's pink inside.
Don't noise it around, but so am I.
Me too, Chelsea.
Are you the security officer?
No, I'm an industrial spy like you.
Hold it.
Are you the security officer?
No, I'm just another industrial spy.
Well, I didn't know there were so many industrial spies on this case. And we've all got the new super secret infrared cameras. They're neat, aren't they?
Hold it.
Are you the security officer?
No, I'm the social director for the Industrial Spies Union. Now, as soon as I take a picture of your super secret infrared camera, I'd like to get a group shot for the magazine. Okay? Say Steele.
One egg foo young for Mao Zedong. I know. I mean, one Mao Zedong for egg foo. Young. No. Was that foo? Mao Zedong. Egg foo young. I don't know.
Goldie is like the sands of time as they blow on the ancient Himalayas.
Society for the Advancement of Atheism will meet this Tuesday, God willing.
Look, Ezekiel, a moving finger.
It is writing on the wall.
Well, what strange being could be doing it?
Well, judging from the handwriting, I'd say he's creative, authoritative, used to having his own way, and he can write wherever he wants.
Bartender, where can I park my shotgun?
Yeah, where can I put my arm?
Where can I plug in my electric ukulele?
I'll have a frozen daiquiri.
Very interesting. And remember, only 2 more days to get your tickets to the Helmut Dantin Film Festival. And you will buy them. Sorry, Helmut.
I have a feeling in my bones it's time for the Flying Fickle Finger of Fate Award.
Is that where it gets you?
Well, that's just an expression.
Oh, okay. Who gets the darling digit this time?
A certain number of New York's finest.
They've been up to something?
Well, no. Actually, they haven't been up at all. They've been sleeping on the job.
All of them?
Well, of course not all of them, but according to the nation's press, some of the arms of the law in New York City have really been sleeping while on duty. They call it cooping.
Aha, cooping out, eh?
You might say that. You see, these police officers come to work with blankets, pillows, alarm clocks, and they find spare hotel rooms or the back of a squad car, sometimes even an empty mortuary, and they catch a little nap. And that's called cooping.
Whew. Well, how do you cope with cops that coop?
Very good. Well, to use an underworld term, you might put the finger on them.
Well, that's a good idea, Ollie.
A word up. So, to those men in the blue Dr. Dettons, take one of these before retiring. Sweet dreams.
Now a special treat. The winner of the June Allison Whisper Alike contest. The lovely Miss Joanne Worley and her entire mouth.
Miss Whirley's voice comes to us tonight through the courtesy of the Wind Tunnel Division of Lockheed Aircraft.
Isn't today supposed to be Linen Day?
You've made my life a joy.
I don't get it. Hello. I'm your duty dog. Pull my string, and I'll ring your chimes.
Andy Warhol donated a pop art painting to our church last week. It's called Madonna and Soup Can.
Goldie, did you know that Michelangelo painted the entire Sistine Chapel on his back?
Oh, well, didn't it wash off when he took a shower?
I was the model for a very famous work of art, the Washington Monument.
They started a new school of painting on Fire Island. It's called fop art.
TV is really getting arty. Last year we saw the Louvre on Channel 4, and next year you're going to be able to see the Artist and Models Ball on Channel 28.
You know, these young artists are all right, I suppose. But personally, I'm a pushover for an old master.
In the Russian subway, they got that new picture. It's with 15 Sakholokheles being chased by 42 Holomyekis nipping away at their pahayatse. Personally, I think it's in bad taste.
My uncle wrecked his car in front of the Museum of Modern Art. So he signed it. Won first prize in the sculpture festival.
I have two pictures in the museum.
Oh, yeah?
One like this, one like that.
Oh, that Henny Picasso.
I think Dad wanted me to be a painter. When I was 12 years old, he gave me the brush.
You know, a friend of mine painted George Jessel in his last honeymoon. He calls it still life.
Hey, you know, the last time I was in New York, I went to the Guggenheim 8 times.
Silly. I told you not to drink the water.
Tiny, go to your room.
One and a two.
Oh, Mr. Lombardo, I'd love to play in your band.
What instrument do you play?
Oh, no instrument. I'd just love to play in your band. They're my kind of fellas.
Tonight's health hint is how to avoid the Hong Kong flu. Now, if you follow the prescription, there is nothing to fear. Just take lots of vitamin A, some vitamin B12, of course, vitamin D, and vitamin G, ladies and gentlemen, and just a touch of ascorbic acid. Now, if you will follow this dosage, you will have no worries about the Hong Kong flu. Now, next week, we will tell you how to recover from Watson's disease, which is, you guessed it, comes from taking a combination of vitamins A, D, G, B12, and just a touch of ascorbic acid. Sir?
Girls' dorm, room 14. Who? Wait a minute, I'll check. Are you the Dean of Men?
No, I'm the coach.
Now, Chapter 19, Book 64 of You Can't Win.
Who's that floozy you practically live with in New York? Was it Gertrude?
I didn't practically live with her. I mean, she wasn't a floozy, and her name was Irma.
Irma? Who's Irma? How many seedy backstreet affairs have you had, anyway?
Just you.
What?
I mean, what I'm trying to say is there was only one other woman in my life, and her name happened to be Irma.
If you're going to keep bringing up your sordid past, I'm leaving.
I'm not even supposed to be up this late.
Silence, five bicycles, see. Is a thing of your beauty and I care Would you call my face ruggedly handsome? Or would you call my body sensually attractive? Would you call my next of kin?
And now for what's happening in higher education, let's take a trip around campus with Miss Judy Carr.
Hello, Tijuana, Mexico. From all reports, they're having a high old time at the University of Tijuana's annual homecoming potluck bonfire, which is now in its 7th year. The bonfire is so popular, the students have missed the last 102 basketball games. But that's all right. They don't have a ball anyway. Take it away, Professor.
In this experiment, I keep a male dog and a female dog in a cage. Every time they ring the bell, the partition between them rises, and the male dog can see the female dog. In this way, the male dog learned to associate the sound of the bell with the sight of the female dog. But what amazed me is how fast the female dog learned to ring the bell.
Well, ring my chimes.
Oxford, Mississippi. The University of Mississippi today voluntarily instituted a program of black studies. Subject matter will include Uncle Remus, Little Black Sambo, and the collected recipes of Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima, pardon.
The philosophy of Step and Fetch It will be offered at the graduate level only.
Oh, yeah, baby, yeah. Hey, hey, let me have the check.
Let's see now. That'll be 10 cents for the coffee, $5 for the sugar.
Well, that's my campus report for tonight, kids. And remember, gang, only a few short weeks till Easter. So those of you going to Fort Lauderdale for the sunrise services, don't forget your church keys.
Baby, I know just how she feels. I was bald when I was 10.
Well, maybe it's growing down. Open your mouth, I'm a doctor. I was right. Your Adam's apple's in a bush.
How do you like our show now that we have non-violent TV?
Well, it's okay, I guess. But I think it's a little ridiculous for grown men going around hollering, bang, bang, you're dead.
Hey, I think we've got a debate going. You want to be on the affirmative side or the negative?
They're awfully husky. Maybe we shouldn't mix in.
Hey, here comes a guy with a whip. Is it your birthday?
Permission to come aboard, sir.
Permission denied.
Falsies.
Tell me again what happened right after the judge told you he couldn't do that to you. He did. Looks like this is the end, folks. Does anybody know a hymn?
Yes, Captain. I know, him and him and I'd like to know you better, big boy. Come on to this side of the boat. Yes, puppy.
To find what Captain Marvel said as he escaped the clutches of the foul gas-emitting cabbage, dial your secret decoding thing to 19, 20, 9, 14, 11. But don't tell your folks.
Well, Dick, tonight we're saluting the good old days.
Yeah, well, confidentially, some of the humor in that escaped me.
Well, we haven't done it yet, you ding-a-ling.
You know, that's probably what was wrong with it.
Yeah, that's probably it.
All right, all of you, line up against that wall. Oh, hi, Phil.
I ain't Phil.
Isn't this Phil's garage?
No, it's Sweeney's place.
Mercy, I just killed 25 mechanics.
This concludes another fireside chat with the President of the United States.
Mama, when I grow up, I want to marry a man like Mr. Roosevelt.
Oh, now you hush, Bertie. With our luck, you're probably going to marry some big Texas cowboy like I did.
Hey, Lyndon! Mama says we can get married!
Meanwhile, back at the good old days.
Now, Sergeant, I hope you assigned all the new inductees to their new jobs in the Army.
Oh, yes, sir, I did.
Good. Well, I hope you assigned each one to something related to what they did in civilian life.
Oh, yes, sir, I did.
Excellent. Now, let's see here. Oh, I see you interviewed a pediatrician. Where'd you put him?
Well, sir, I know a pediatrician takes care of feet, so I put him in infantry.
I see. And this one, he was a lifeguard?
Well, I put him in the motor pool.
Motor pool. And this man, he was a bricklayer.
Oh, yes, sir, that bricklayer will be right at home. I put him in the mortar crew.
Of all the imbecilic, moronic... What did an idiot like you do before the war, Sergeant?
Sir, before the war, I was a sergeant in the Army.
Saw the first transplants.
Well, is that anything like an eggplant?
You know it isn't, you silly blonde lady. I'll tell you what, though. The 50s, during that time, the Russian surgeons transplanted a dog's head, creating the world's largest two-headed dog.
Thus, you see, Dr. Visarovich, we have taken this normal dog and grafted it onto a second head. When one head eats, the other will not even know when it's being fed.
Gee, that seems like a lot of trouble to go through just to fool another dog.
Go to Siberia.
Meanwhile, back at the good old days.
has a familiar ring to it.
Well, maybe you heard it somewhere. Say, do you realize that after next year they'll be calling the 60s the good old days?
Oh, what's so good about the 60s?
Are you kidding? We had bikinis, mini skirts, see-through dresses, topless waitresses. Things never looked better.
And that makes the 60s great.
Well, it beats the 50s. At least we don't have a war in Korea.
No, but we got a war in Vietnam.
All right, but compared to the 40s, we don't have World War II.
No, but we got a war in Vietnam.
Okay, but what about the 30s after the Depression? Nobody had any money left.
And then in the 60s, after taxes, nobody had any money left.
Well, then look at the 20s. Organized crime, gang wars. Nobody was safe on the streets.
Look at the 60s. Riots and muggings. Nobody's safe in the streets.
Well, when do we get the good old days?
Beats me, pal. Hey, maybe next year.
Hey, wait a minute. I just figured out how to make the 70s the good old days.
How's that?
We got to get rid of Guy Lombardo with that old lang syne every year. That's where the trouble starts.
Whacker, I think you're onto something.
I'm Guy Lombardo, and when I go, I'm taking New Year's Eve with me.
Now that's what this show needs. More penetrating political comment pertinent to the events that alter and illuminate our time.
Speaking of the good old days, before we stop reminiscing about the past, there is one great moment of the very recent past that touched me deeply.
I know what you mean. Lyndon Johnson's farewell speech at the White House.
I'll never forget it.
Still brings a tear to my eye.
It's been a wonderful 4 years. I'd like to tell you that my wife was played by Sheila McRae. Dean Rusk was Art Carney. Linda Bird was played by Jane Keane. Now, in the words of that wonderful statesman, Jackie Gleason, I'd like to say to you, good night, everybody!
I don't think that's thick enough. Don't you want to make it a little more thicker so it'll... Listen, I have to have this done by 3 o'clock this afternoon. Is it going to be through? It doesn't. That's an awfully big hole. I wish you would. You've been here since 10, sir. And I really wish that you... Oi, come on, Kalasa!
Hey, Virginia, how come you wear leather clothes?
Well, they're warm, they protect me from the cactus, and besides, they wear well.
Yeah. And besides, you can't wear silk on a roundup.
Come on, Tiny. We know when we're not wanted.
Well, it's time to say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Mr. Dick.
Who's Dick? Oh, good night, Dick.
My brother Carmen couldn't be here tonight. He's back at the hotel practicing his notes.
Next week, we have one of the most exciting...
I wonder if you'd mind. I wonder if you'd mind if I really did say something my aunt once said to me, though.
I don't see how I could prevent it.
Well, actually, this one you'll probably get a pretty big kick out of. You see, she was trapped for a 4-day weekend in the fruit department of an A&P with a known melon squeezer.
A known melon squeezer.
Oh, they're the worst kind.
I suppose.
I thought perhaps what she said when she came out would be of interest to the folks.
Well, I know all the melon squeezers want to hear about it.
Well, there's a whole gang of them, too.
Yes, I know. Well, come on.
When she came out, she said, well, she didn't say it right out, but pretty soon she said, pinch my cassava and I'll follow you anywhere.
Good night, good night, Dick.
Say good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Oh, Mr. Tiny! Hey, did you see Yellow Submarine?
No, I can't stand Japanese war movies.
Oh, what do you mean, Tiny?
Anybody seen Alan Sues?
I haven't.
You're Alan.
Oh, good, he's my favorite.
Did you hear about the rabbi, the minister, the priest, the nun, the Irishman, and the Greek?
No, how's it go?
I don't know, but it's a great combination for a joke.
If every car in the United States were painted pink, we'd have a pink carnation. I'd really rather tiptoe through the tulips.
Hello, Dick.
Hello, love.
Do you really think you can carry a good thing to Papa?
Oh, depends how heavy she is.
I understand the government's going to speed up welfare payments.
Yeah, and they're gonna call it fast, fast, fast relief.
Believe me, don't ever argue with a barber. All they want to do is split hairs.
Judy?
What?
How about a bite after the show?
No thanks, Dan. My mum said I shouldn't go out with Dick anymore.
Goldie, how rare do you like your steak?
Rare? Once a month.
All right.
Show me a husband who goes to pot, and I'll show you a grass widow.
That's a lot of trouble to go to just to steal another dog.
Miss Lollobrigida, could you help me with my Italian?
Oh, I'll be glad, Goldie. What's his name?
Oh, I still don't get it.
Well, time to hit the rack.
Don't say that.
Turn this boat around. We're going to Cuba.
Women who you will.
This program was pre-recorded to allow our cast time to report to their parole officers.
You know, I watched the whole show, and I still don't get it.
You never will.
Very interesting. But the Pulitzer Prize is safe for another week.
Good night, Lucy. You're a beautiful, maddening, gorgeous girl. And for all of you fun-loving people over at Peyton Place, it's an awful lot of trouble to go just to fool another network. Ooh, and I think an alligator just ate my foot.